Hey friends, Catherine here from Research Rockstar, and today I'm very happy to introduce a new friend, David Aladejo from Dig Insights, or I should say, the Upsiide division of Dig Insights is with me today. The topic we're going to talk about today is about a tool that they have for doing trade-off analysis. As many Research Rockstar students know, trade-off analysis is an important type of technique that we use in survey research when we're trying to understand, really try to simulate as much as we can the trade-offs people make in the real world. You know, do they want a four-door car that gets 30 miles per gallon and comes in these colors, or do they want the two-car version that gets 40 miles per gallon and comes in these other colors, right? So we're always trying to understand what things people are trading off, what their optimum configuration might be, and so forth. The challenge we have in market research with this topic is that some of the techniques that we use for this can be pretty complicated, not only for us as researchers to implement, but really for the participant too. And so those of you who have taken courses with me know that one of the things I often will say about doing the quote conjoint related techniques like discrete choice and adaptive choice and even MaxDiff is that it's really a lot of cognitive effort for the participant to go through those types of online exercises, asking people to go through even just 10 or 15 screens with a lot of really dense information, which frankly isn't always so beautifully formatted. It's really asking a lot of our participants. So I'm always on the lookout for cool new ways that we can do trade-off analysis, and here's one of them. So I'd like David to give us a demonstration of a tool that that they have. So again, I just want to make sure, David, that I'm giving you plenty of time to give our students a little bit of a demonstration of how your tool here works.
Yeah, definitely. Catherine, thank you so much for the warm welcome, and hello, Research Rockstar students. Really excited to show you the Upsiide tool that we've built and now we license out as a software product that anyone can use to do research. In the research industry, I think most of us have a love-hate relationship with PowerPoint, so I'm not going to spend too much time in the PowerPoint. I'll go through 4 slides to introduce Upsiide, and then the majority of our time will be spent in the platform, clicking around and showing you exactly how we use this tool today. So we do call Upsiide a consumer intelligence platform for agile innovation, which is really just a fancy buzzwordy way of saying that it's a mobile first platform that a lot of our clients are using when it comes to early stage idea screening and concept testing. And the beauty of Upsiide is that for the respondent, it doesn't feel like traditional research. It's actually a really gamified mobile first experience that allows them to still give their feedback in a way that is insightful for the user on the back end. So in terms of who's using Upsiide, we work with businesses, both small and large, as some of the brands you can see on the screen. And really, the one thing that all these brands have in common is looking for a quicker and more cost-effective way to be able to test their ideas. And really, 3 takeaways that we boiled it down to when it comes to using Upsiide is being able to identify and prioritize your strongest ideas. So if you ever have a set of 8 to 60, sometimes 70 ideas that you want to test at one time, you can pop it into the platform and generate a survey out of those ideas. And then the last one that I think is really relevant, especially today in this new world that we're living in, is knowing exactly what your customers want, what they need, being able to create those wants and needs and fill that gap for them as a business. So I mentioned testing ideas. Really, what is an idea? It comes down to anything that you can conceptualize as either image, text, or short video. And here's a few examples on the screen. Everything from product ideas to packaging, which might be a little bit more image heavy, to testing services benefits, or even down to marketing ideas like claims, messaging, ads, and positioning. So again, across those 3 formats, image, text, or short video, you can do just one, you can mix or match, and then test all of those types of ideas in the platform. And the last thing before I hop into the platform here is, how does Upsiide actually work? The first step obviously is how you build a study, and this can be done as quickly as 2 to 5 minutes. If any of you have worked with a tool like SurveyMonkey or Typeform in the past, the user interface is very similar. It's built to be really intuitive and easy. You're typing in ideas, you're clicking and dragging and customizing the survey exactly how you want. The next step would be to launch the audience that you want to speak to. And there's a couple of options when it comes to launching to the right audience. The first option is to go through what we call the audience marketplace. So we have a direct API integration with Lucid, which is a global panel aggregator. If people aren't familiar, just give them a quick search. Basically, it's a marketplace of hundreds of panel companies across the globe. And through that integration, our users have access to 45 million potential respondents worldwide. The other option is if you're working with a client or you yourself have a list of customers or preferred panel, because Upsiide is web-based, you can integrate it using a direct link to another one of those audience sources. And the beauty of that is you don't have to upload any of that information to our platform. So when it comes to GDPR, PIPEDA, all of that stuff, you're fully compliant because you don't have to share any of that data with us. And then the last two steps is really the purpose of the demonstration, to show you how we collect responses and how you can do reporting and insights using the dashboard. So with that being said, I'm just going to slide on over to the platform. As some context, I will be showing a ready-to-drink alcoholic beverage demo. I know it's only Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, so it might be a little bit early to be thinking about the weekend, but this is a great demo for kind of showing how the platform interacts and all aspects of it, from the respondent side to the actual reporting and insights. I like to start with the respondent side, what a user would see as they go through this. And again, digging down to the point that this is a mobile first platform. So as long as a respondent has Wi-Fi or mobile data, they're able to load this up on any device. It is mobile first, so it's really built and optimized for the mobile experience. But also here's a preview of what it would look like on a desktop or on a tablet. So in this study, we asked some very simple screening and demographic questions. This one actually is a multi-select, so you can see I can select more than one response. And then we also have a multi-select for beverage consumption in the past 3 months. Obviously, because it's a pandemic, I might just select a few more than usual, hit continue. And then now what we see in front of us is a statement screen. And this screen can be used most commonly to guide the respondent through the entire survey taking experience. So in this case, we're just kind of orienting how they're going to be giving their feedback, basically saying, we're going to show you 40 different mixed cocktail products. If you would purchase it, swipe right or use a check mark. If you won't purchase it, swipe left or use the X. And then anytime you like or swipe right on two products, they're going to be shown against each other in this tournament style head-to-head screen. That's the trade-off screen, and that's the trade-off methodology within Upsiide. So I understand the rules. I know what to do. I hit continue. And now I'm going to be showing each idea one at a time on what's known as a card. So in this study, you can see we just have the image, a simple name, a size, and a price. This is all fully custom. So in the case that you wanted to include more text, or you wanted to include bullet points or attributes and things like that, you can build it into the card. And again, because it is mobile optimized, when you have more text, the respondent can simply just scroll to read everything that you include. So I know what to do. Neutral vodka soda is really my vibe. So I'll swipe right. This one, maybe I don't like so much. I swipe left. And then once I swipe right again, what I'm seeing now is that tournament style head to head. There is a trade-off format where it shows just the image. But once again, if I click in, I'm going to see the card in its original form, make sure I'm taking everything into account. And then once again, indicate my preference using the check mark. The next time I swipe, you'll see my first winner against the one I most recently like, and so on and so forth until I've gone through and evaluated all the different ideas that are included in the swiping section. So that's really all there is to the responder interface. As you can see, it's built to be really intuitive, really simple. On the back end, because we are a research company at heart, we do have some more sophisticated analysis and modeling that we're doing to generate specific dashboards that allow for the evaluation of results. So this first screen is our idea screen, and we have 3 different scores: upside score, interest score, and trade-off score. And this is all generated just from that swiping module. The interest score is the percentage of people who like the idea. And we've done some validation, some research on research, and found that this score has a 90% correlation to top 2 box purchasing intent. So you can almost think of it as a PI score within the Upside dashboard. The next score is the trade-off score, which is the percentage of people who select it as their preference when it goes into that tournament style trade-off screen. So when it's shown against other liked ideas, what percentage of the time is it being selected as the preference? So in this case, Hires Root Beer wins 62% of the trade-offs that it's in. And then the final score here is the upside score. And this is the only one of the 3 scores that is not a percentage. It's a relative number that we've built as a combination of interest and trade-off, and then trained against the model to be the best prediction of performance in the market. So what you're seeing here is a score that allows you to compare your different ideas apples to apples, but also to be able to include some in-market ideas or in-market benchmarks to get a good sense of how those ideas are performing. And the last thing we see on the screen is the color coding, just showing us performance relative to the entire study. So our green scores are performing high, yellow scores are performing average, and our red scores are performing low in the study. So those are the different ideas, the different scores. A couple other screens that I think might be beneficial to see. The first one is the quadrant chart. I personally love this view because it does a ton of the work for you in terms of just giving you a great visual representation on how things perform. So basically, we're comparing total interest on the vertical side against total trade-off on the horizontal, and then putting the ideas into 4 distinct quadrants. Our winners, pretty self-explanatory. They're high on interest, they're high on trade-off. So these are the ideas that are performing the best. Then we have our rethink ideas, which are pretty much the opposite of a winning idea. They are lower on interest and lower on trade-offs. So these are some ideas that you might want to take back to the drawing board the closer they are to this bottom left corner. Above that is our compelling category. These ideas have some potential because they have similar broad appeals to the winners, but they're not quite as differentiated. So oftentimes they're losing out in that trade-off screen. So there is some potential here to iterate on these ideas and create a little bit more in terms of the trade-off to push them into the winning category. And finally, niche ideas. Less people like them overall, but the people who like them are extremely passionate. Great example of this, beach bum lemon coconut. I would never drink a lemon coconut blend beverage, but clearly with that high trade-off score, there is a group of people that this drink really resonates with. And when it comes to finding, different groups or segments, you're able to filter in specific qualifications that come with the audience or any custom qualifications you want to include. So here I might say, I want to see how, my female respondents kind of responded to this in real time. It's going to reorient. And now we can see that our winner is not this hard cream soda. That beach bum lemon coconut is actually closer to a winning idea. And then everything else kind of falls in between there. And then the last view in terms of analysis that's really great to look at is this network map. So what the network map is, it's a modeled view of the interest data. And essentially what it's going to show us is how our consumers are creating territories or clusters on the different products based on, the things that they like. And you can see right now it looks a little bit messy. And the reason for that is because everyone sees every idea in a random order, there's going to be some sort of relationship between every single swipe. And the relationships are shown by these lines that are in between them. So the way that we make it a little bit more readable is by turning down the number of connections to be 10% or less. That way, we're only observing the strongest relationships that exist in this map. And now I can go ahead and analyze it, and I can just find a cluster and try to find what's common between those ideas. So over here on the right, we see Crazy Uncle Hard Root Beer, Hires Root Beer, Jack Daniel's Cola, Pop Shop Hard Cream Soda are all in a cluster. So essentially, if someone likes one of these ideas, they're likely to like the other 4 in this cluster. And we can tell that because they're in close proximity and they're also connected by a strong weighted line. This makes sense because across these 4 or 5 beverages, we can see it's all a mixture of some sort of a soda and a hard liquor. Whereas on the left-hand side, we can see all of our vodka soda, like 0-calorie type drinks all clustered together. So we have neutral, we have nude, Aquarelle, Cottage Springs are all kind of clustering together as well. So in this study, they're clustering based on ingredients. In other studies, it might be based on the attribute, the benefit, the color of a specific idea, whatever you want to include. And that's essentially what the network map shows us. Additionally, outside of this dashboard, we're able to take these results and run things like a turf simulator or a share of choice or share of volume simulator to see how things might perform in market. So that's an overview of the idea screen and swiping section and the host of results that you get from that. Additionally, you can include some more traditional market research type questions and use this as a survey platform if you don't have ideas that you want to test. The dashboards for that are pretty standard as to what you would get in terms of a single select question, multi-select question. And then for the open-ended, you'll see your verbatims dashboarded. And additionally, on the back end, we're using natural language processing and AI to analyze those responses and bucket them into either positive, neutral, or negative sentiments. So you get a read on your sentiment score. So here, mostly positive sentiments. We can get a bit more granular and look at specific keywords. So we're going to be looking at the top 10 keywords by sentiment intensity. In this study, mostly positive. People love their ready-to-drink beverages. So you can see flavor, price, really positive. The only one that's a bit more of a toss-up is pomegranate, where some people really love it, some people don't care, and then some people really hate it. So you can see both sides of the coin there. And then finally, the word cloud, a little bit more of a fun dashboard, but you can see the most commonly used words based on the size of the word in the cloud. across positive, neutral, negative sentiments, or all sentiments in the same screen at one time. So that's everything when it comes to the front end of the dashboard when you get your results and the respondent experience. The last thing that I kind of wanted to show here was the audience marketplace and how that works. So once you put a study together, you're ready to launch. The last step is to select the audience you want to launch to. You can choose to collect responses with the link. So right here, all you have to do, select the language you want to launch the study in and create the link, and you're ready to go. That link can be copy and pasted, whether through email, social, or any other form. Additionally, if you want to get a bit more custom, you can actually edit this, add custom qualifiers on the link. So if you want to pre-screen people who are getting in, so not everyone can use it, or if you want to make sure that you're sending out one link to one person, you can append respondent identifiers on. So you can create a bunch of different custom links to also send out to respondents. So I will delete that one. And then the other option is through the audience marketplace, which allows you to get a little bit more robust. When you first launch the audience marketplace, you can see here we have some Upsiide recommended audiences that we've pre-built. So things like general population or some custom templates you can use. In this case, I'm going to choose, I want to start from scratch. I'll come in and you can see there's a host of countries I can choose from. I'll just keep it simple and select the US, English. Then I can come in and choose my age buckets. So at this point, we have some selected by default, and you can see here the quotas have been distributed evenly. If you want a more custom range, all you really have to do is delete the ones we have or just type in a new range like you can see here, and set any quotas that you want on that. So I'll just keep it like this. Gender, I'll go male, female, keep the quotas even. When you get into advanced targeting, we have a host of different industries and categories that you can choose from. So in here, I can do beverages, and then I can set my screener based on that. If for some reason the screener you're looking for isn't already pre-populated, you can just build your own custom target. So right here, you can build in a screener, maybe say single select question, type it in, give the responses options, and then using the logic tab, you can say anyone who answers this way, I want to go ahead and disqualify from the study. So pretty simple, intuitive in terms of how you can build a screener in. But for this purpose, I'll just leave those two empty, hit next. And then my last step here is to set my number of responses that I'm looking for, and also set an estimation on the qualification or incidence rate. So in an ideal world, you know what the incidence rate is, and you can just select one and you're ready to go. If for some reason you estimate and the real qualification rate is actually lower than what you estimated, our platform will automatically stop the study, send you an alert and say, hey, this study is actually harder to reach than you thought. This is the updated price. Do you want to proceed? If, on the other hand, it's actually higher than what you estimate, we'll say, hey, this is actually easier for us to find than you thought. Here are some cost savings, and here's the revised price. So long story short, you'll always know what the cost is. It'll never be a surprise. And then you can choose to field the study how you want to. So that is the audience marketplace in a nutshell, and the platform from like a 50,000 foot view. Obviously, there's tons of use cases for the platform. So happy to do a more customized and tailored demo for anyone who's interested. But overall, I would say in terms of length of interview, number of ideas, we don't have any real technical limits. We usually recommend that the interview is between 5 to 8 minutes. And then the number of responses we found, like I said before, you can go as high as 60, but the sweet spot is around 20 to 30. So yeah, that's Upsiide in a nutshell. I know there's a couple of questions that we want to go through, and we can do that now.
Excellent. Thank you, David. And I appreciate how quickly you speak. That was awesome. Boom, boom, boom. I can tell you've done this once or twice before.
For sure.
So a couple of questions. I'm gonna start actually at the end and work backwards. First of all, I was really interested to see some of your survey capabilities. I mean, simple survey capabilities, but that's great, and especially around the open-ended question, and that you actually do have some ability to do the text analysis and the sentiment analysis on that, which is a really hot topic these days, where people really are trying to get more value out of their open-ended text, their unstructured data. So that was really awesome to see. But my primary focus, of course, is really on the trade-off types of the aspects of the trade-off. You know, a lot of researchers are accustomed to doing their trade-off analysis using more complex functions like discrete choice, especially. But like I said before, I'm not always a fan because of the cognitive effort for the user. But there is sort of this mindset of, we know that if we give people too much text to read, that it's hard for them to make comparisons.
Right.
Now, I believe you said that in the text, you could format it to really make it very bulleted so that it's super easy. It's not like it's a big block of text. The attributes and attribute levels could literally just be presented as bullet points, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say, yeah. So that card is all fully custom, and actually, we do have some templates already that you can use to kind of create that card and then adjust as you see fit. So I can just quickly actually just add in an idea screen, and you'll see that we now have a bunch of different options. So if you're doing just image, just text, if you want a bit more text, here this one has a lot of text and everything like that. So when you're building these cards out, it's all HTML. So you can italicize, you can bold, you can, format to make it more digestible for the respondent as they go through.
Excellent. Well, then in that case, you could even do a little table if you wanted to.
Right.
Okay, excellent. All right. So in terms of your experience so far, do you find that there is an effective limit? Like, is it better if they don't have to scroll down to see all of the text, if the text is all on one screen? Or are people willing to scroll down to read all of the text on the card?
Yeah, generally people are willing to scroll in the case that it's just included if the text is a little bit longer, because people are so acclimated to using their phones to scroll. It's more of just like a natural habit for them. But we would say that depending on the amount of text you want to include, that actually would change the recommendation on the number of total ideas that you test. So one time I was working with an insurance client who was looking to test claims, and he wanted to test 60 insurance claims. And I don't think there's anyone in the world who would, no matter how mobile friendly you make it, who'd be willing to scroll and read through 60 insurance claims. So that recommendation might be maybe more 10 to 15 ideas. But if it's like an image and a simple one-liner, then you can get away with testing things a little bit, 40, 50, 60. So I would say that the text doesn't really have an impact in terms of scrolling, but the recommendation on the number of ideas that you include would definitely change depending on how much text you want to include.
No, that makes a ton of sense. Thank you. And then the other thing I was wondering about, or I just wanted to make sure that I clarified in my own head, is because this is not an app that's downloaded to the phone, it is a web-based tool. It's totally agnostic. It doesn't matter if I have an Android. It doesn't matter if I have an iPhone. This is the look and feel that I'm going to get no matter what, correct?
Correct, exactly. So it's all web-based, so you don't have to download anything beforehand from the App Store, from the Play Store. As long as you have the internet connection, you're able to load it up on any device.
Excellent. And because a lot of researchers like to get into their raw data, and you mentioned this a little bit at the end, but I just want to confirm. So at the end, you've got some really cool visual displays. Love the visual displays you have in your analysis. But I can also just export my data, I assume, as a CSV file or something, so that I can import it into SPSS or whatever tools I like to use.
Correct. So everything will live on the platform that you can log into and see, but you can download anything directly to CSV, or for those question dashboards, you can download as images, but yeah, CSV, and then you can use in any other tool.
Excellent. And let's talk, I have to ask about pricing. A lot of times, especially for people who are used to doing higher end trade-off analysis, it might be a fairly expensive piece of software that you might be licensing in order to do that. Can you tell us about the model for your pricing?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to load up a quick slide here. So the model for our pricing, because it is SaaS, is license-based. So we offer basically 2 tiers of licensing, which gives you access to a full year of using the platform. You can run as many studies as you want and have as many users from your organization in the platform. We don't charge per idea or per concept. So the only cost that you pay for the project is really the cost for sample. So what it boils down to is what is the incidence rate or the qualification rate for that sample. Like you saw, the dashboard will give you an automatic quote, and then that's the cost that you're paying for your projects. We also recognize that, for some people who might be, working for consultancies or standalone researchers, you can't always predict the number of studies you'll be doing in a full year. So for that model, we also have per project pricing available upon request. So if you came to us and said, hey, I'm going to be running one project, you'd just be paying a base project cost and then the cost for sample on top of that. But additionally, for Research Rockstar students, if you are coming over, we're happy to do a pilot for you where you don't have to pay license cost. You can run a project and then kind of see if using Upsiide makes more sense for you.
Excellent. I really appreciate that offer. And I hope some of our students take you up on it because it looks like a really cool tool. I know I'd like to get my hands on it and give it a try myself. One thing I do want to just though confirm, because I know that this is a question that comes up a lot just in software. So I just want to confirm something that you said, which is that the cost, the standard pricing is an annual license. And if they're not getting sample from you, you don't care how many responses they get. If they're doing their own sample and they've got 500 respondents or 2,000 respondents, you guys don't care. That's all covered in the annual fee, correct?
Right. So as you can see here, depending on the tier that you go with, you just have a specified number of responses that you can use per year. So if you go on the small business tier, you can use 5,000. If you go on the enterprise tier, you can use 10,000. The only time this changes is in the case that we're working with another research provider. Then we just charge a base cost of $1 per response for you to bring your responses over. So in the case that you're doing it on behalf of a client or something like that, then we would just charge that base cost. But besides that, you have a bulk number of credits you can use for your interviews.
So if I have my own list, I have my own panel, then it's $1 per respondent using my panel on this tool.
Correct.
Awesome. Got it. Awesome. Great. Well, thank you so much, David. And again, I also just want to say how much I love the interface. I mean, I just love that this is so clean, it just looks so modern, it looks so clean, it looks so easy. And, when you first said, oh, we could have 60 ideas, I was like, oh, that's crazy. But it's so simple. Like I can imagine how somebody could go through 60 ideas, really very quickly. And so
sure.
I think that looks great. And I love the visualizations on your data analysis too. I love the quadrant analysis, and I like that you've given a few different scores, so that there's different ways of looking at the data. So I thought that was really compelling. And of course the filtering, to be able to filter on the fly by my demographics or other screening criteria. Obviously that's always something I want to do when I'm exploring my data, is to see, well,
for sure,
did the votes vary much by gender or household income or whatever other attributes? So to be able just, even before I run my, statistics, to even just look at that visually by running some filtering, I think sounds like a real-time saver to me.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you like the interface. We've put a lot of focus on the research side first and getting everything up and running on the back end. And now a lot of the focus is just making it as intuitive and easy to use as possible. So hopefully people might see it as a beneficial tool down the line.
Excellent. Thank you, David. I really appreciate your time. And for our students, again, this is David Oladejo from Upsiide, and I'll provide his contact information if anybody wants to follow up with him. And thanks again for your generous offer to our students to give them a chance to do a pilot project. That's really fantastic.
Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate the time.
Have a great day.
You too.